How y'all doing? This is your boy, Thaddeus Cray. This one is going to be a cryptid called the Albatwitch. So what exactly is this thing? Well, I want to go ahead and read a little bit about this thing right here and now. The Albatwitch is one of several local legends in the area of Columbia, Pennsylvania. They speak of a creature called an Albatwitch. It's a small, 4-foot-tall, man-like creature, similarities to Bigfoot here, which supposedly live in wooded areas, again, similarities to Bigfoot. Their main evidence of residence seems to be near Chickee's Rock, a heavily wooded area. Along the banks of the Susquehanna River, about a mile or two north of town, Albatwitches were also reported from, again, wooded areas all along the river's shore. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, as many of these cryptids they travel along water lines. Of course, they have to. Naturally, because, again, water. Along the banks, how can I say this the best way? Sorry, I was reading wrong here. The creatures are named for a habit in which they possess. Their bizarre common name is short for apple snake, as they are reputed to have a taste for apples. Legends of how the Albatwitches would oftentimes steal apples from picnickers. This is interesting, right? Occasionally even throwing them at the startled people. Again, that's Sasquatch behavior right there. You know, throwing rocks, anything else. Just kind of spook people. To them, it's a game. Legends also record that the creatures often sat in trees, coming down only to find food. Again, though, that's primate behavior right there. Legend says that these creatures were nearly driven to extinction in the later years of the 19th century. Chickee's Rock, where they supposedly live, does have a tradition of strange sights and sounds. In the 1950s and 1970s, a man-like figure was seen many times, and local legends also speak of sounds of the crack of a whip heard in the woods at night. One can only wonder if these stories could be connected with the Albatwitch. Okay. Here we're going to go into kind of the, how can I say this? Of course, there's different, I'm not going to go into all the geographic areas because that would kind of make this video too long. But I'm just going to say this. There are also stories of tribes in this area. They're called the Susquehannocks. They had a belief in an ape-like monster, like, of course, many tribes do. And they would actually paint this thing on their war shields. So that itself is very interesting. I'm going to go and put my thoughts into something about these creatures. Do I believe these creatures exist? Very much so. Like I said, because this is so obscure, I figured it would be best for me to read off a page with some information about these creatures and just use my innate, the stuff that I've kind of absorbed throughout the years, because I never knew about this creature until recently. That's kind of why I had to take a different change of tactic. But anyway, you want to know if I believe these creatures could exist? Yeah, it's very possible. And there's a sign to me, there's not much in the way. Everything, of course, has paranormal potential attachments to it. But I'm not going to go that route with this. I'm going to go the normal scientific, natural, route with this creature. I believe very possibly the way from what it sounds like is it sounds like a primate. Maybe even an offshoot of maybe some kind of animal that we just haven't discovered yet. And possibly maybe even kind of a quote-unquote missing link. These creatures obviously seem very intelligent. And of course, again, that they show almost chimp-like behavior. This is what chimpanzees do. Usually, of course, they come down to forage and all that stuff. But they mainly, of course, and that's about it. And then, of course, when it's time for them to rest and do what they need to do, they go back up in the trees where they're safe. At least from land predators. That in itself, like I said, that's primate behavior. Make no mistake there. Hell, even, especially orangutans are known to do that as well. So you really have to take this into account. Do I believe it could be a missing link? Well, like I said, yes, very much so. But I personally believe that this creature is more of a large, possibly undiscovered primate or ape that we don't know about. And you got to understand, if these creatures are smart as I'm thinking they are, they're going to know to lay low. And they're definitely not going to want to be seen. And naturally, of course, if the government knows about these creatures, you have to understand, it's not always about conspiracies. Many people are always going up that, myself included, I go up that route a lot of times. But you also have to understand, it's not always about conspiracies or trying to, one person trying to, an organization trying to get you or keep you from knowing something. It's possible that maybe someone in power knows about these creatures, and maybe they're legitimately just trying to keep them from going extinct. Because it said, I was reading right there, they're almost driven to extinction. And that's just by human interaction or intervention. We're very bad about wiping species off the map, if you know what I'm talking about. And I do believe that there's definitely some genuine conservation efforts by those in power to keep us in the dark about certain creatures. They know about them. They're not wanting them to be wiped out. Maybe by the better angels, how can I say this? The better angels of their nature or whatever reason. It ain't really mattering. But that's the motive. And also you have to understand, if people found out about giant, I've said this many times, about giant hairy humanoids, or in this case, small ones, walking around the woods and possibly people even being hurt or killed, especially by Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever, creatures like this. I mean, you got to think about the economic repercussions, as I said many, many times before. But I thought this was a very interesting video to do because this is a subject I did not really think about. Hell, I didn't even know about these creatures at all until I came across a Facebook post by, I think it was Ryan Paul Tremblay. He was kind of giving him a shout out as per request. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. This one was fun to do because it was different. You guys know what I do. I produce for Dark Waters Entertainment. If you've had a cryptid encounter or a paranormal one, hit me up. My email is wesvic@iamdarkwaters.com. You guys be blessed and you be safe.